Hello everyone, my name is Evgeny Levanov, and for those who don't know me, I'm a personal trainer and I'm also an adaptive bodywork therapist. I'm going to be making a series of videos that are going to discuss fallacies in the health and fitness industry that are going around today. Without wasting any more time, the first subject is going to be icing. If you've done any kind of training in your life, or you've watched a little bit of sports on TV, you know that the go-to remedy for an injury is icing, right? You hurt yourself, the region gets inflamed, and we suggest put some ice on it. It'll dull the pain, it'll reduce inflammation, and you'll recover a bit quicker. It's possible that you've also heard of the RICE acronym. RICE stands for rest, ice, compress, and elevate. This treatment for soft tissue injuries was introduced in 1978 by a gentleman named Gabe Merkin. This guideline has been around for decades, and no one really questioned it. Not everyone compresses, not everyone elevates, but most people rest and ice an injury. It's common practice. But does it really work? Recently, there has been a few studies that questioned this process of healing. Funny enough, in 2014, Gabe Merkin, the same gentleman that introduced these guidelines, released a letter, and I quote, saying, "Coaches have used my RICE guideline for decades, but now it appears that both ice and complete rest may delay healing instead of helping." In a recent study, athletes were told to exercise so intensely that they developed severe muscle damage that caused extensive muscle soreness. So basically, they damaged their muscles to see how they could regenerate properly. The quote finishes by, "Although cooling delayed swelling, it did not hasten recovery from this muscle damage." And that's where things get interesting, because it has been proven that ice will reduce the overall pain from injury or excessive exercising. That's proven, there's no doubt about it. In other words, if you have an injury and you put ice on it, it'll take you longer to recover from that injury, even if during that period you experience less pain. Let me ask you a question. Would you prefer recovering sooner from an injury, or would you rather numb the symptoms or the pain? Now, I'm not saying icing doesn't have its place, but it's risky business, and most people can go without it. If you're an athlete who has to compete for a gold medal tomorrow morning at the Olympics, and there's no other way to go about it, icing will reduce the swelling, it will help reduce the pain, and it will allow you to compete for one more event at the risk of a higher chance of injury. If you're a regular gym goer, or if you enjoy a casual run from time to time, you're only hurting yourself and slowing your recovery period down. Now, I know most therapists still suggest icing. That's what they were taught, that's their go-to guideline. Yes, it does help reduce pain. Yes, it does help reduce swelling. But aside from that, the benefits end there. It doesn't help you recover. All the things that I mentioned are facts. You can find these on the internet. You can find the letter that Gabe Merkin wrote in 2014. You can find studies that prove icing does not accelerate the healing process. Our job is to read up and educate ourselves to know what will be beneficial for us and what we thought would be beneficial for us. On the next video, we'll be discussing another component of RICE, the rest component. Is it also beneficial, or is it detrimental to your recovery? But before that, I'll leave you with an interesting thought. If you've ever heard about bloodletting, it's where they withdraw a certain quantity of your blood to allow you to supposedly recover from illnesses. This was a practice very common in the past. If you didn't know, George Washington once had a severe throat infection. So, he went to the common treatment, which was bloodletting. Within a 10-hour period, a total of 3 3/4 liters of blood was extracted from him just to cure a throat infection. And you know what happened? He died. He really did. This is all facts. You can check it out. You can find it on the internet. Think about it this way. How many common practices like icing are really detrimental to our health and have very little health benefits? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.